What's up guys, Houndish here, and today I wanted to jump in and take a look at the time-worn Spire, which is the new Iron Banner pulse rifle in Destiny 2. Personally, I think this is my favourite kind of primary weapon from the Iron Banner so far in Destiny. It is a solid weapon in the Crucible, but it's also one of the more interesting weapons as well. It's a slightly rarer archetype for a pulse rifle, and I think there are a few reasons that you should try this thing out if you get it dropped. So first up, let's take a quick look at the bonuses. It is a rapid fire frame pulse rifle, so it's in the 540 rounds per minute archetype, somewhat reminiscent of the Grasp of Malak type pulse rifle from Destiny 1. In the sights though, we have Hitmark IS as well as Red Dot Micro, which is my personal favourite. We've also got the Rifle Scope SSF, and then up next we've got Tactical Mag. The weapon has multiple tactical improvements, which slightly bumps up your stability, increases reload speed, as well as increasing your magazine size, and this will give you 39 rounds in the magazine. We also have accurized rounds. The weapon can be fired from longer distances, which increases your range. Finally, we have Zen Moment. Causing damage with this weapon increases its stability, which is actually a fairly good bonus on this kind of weapon. It's a fast firing weapon. It does have quite a lot of kick to it. There's quite a lot of recoil with this weapon, so Zen Moment is definitely a good bonus. Now this is pretty similar to the Lincoln Green pulse rifle. Lincoln Green can have slightly more stability because of steady rounds. It's also a little bit faster because it also has snapshot, but the time-worn Spire does have a bit more range as well as a higher reload speed. Another notable thing about the time-worn Spire is the aim assist that you get with this weapon. It is a relatively sticky weapon for this archetype of pulse rifle. Now this thing will kill very quickly. It's the same situation with the Lincoln Green. I like this weapon because it also has the kind of scopes that you would see on the Nightshade pulse rifle, whereas the Lincoln Green has the kind of very old school weapon scopes. I personally prefer what you see on the time-worn Spire, and if you can get into the kind of sweet spot, that mid-range engagement with this thing, it will absolutely shred in the Crucible. It does a lot of damage to targets. You are going to have to control that recoil though. I would suggest definitely having a kinetic recoil or kinetic counterbalance mod on your armor if you can with this thing. It can do okay at slightly longer ranges. It's not necessarily this archetype's fault that it doesn't have the best kind of performance at range. You will find that with pulse rifles in Destiny 2, the range drop-off is pretty severe. So versus scout rifle users at long ranges, you're going to see the same kind of issues that you'd see with other weapons in the game, but I personally feel like this is my favourite archetype of pulse rifle in Destiny 2 so far for the Crucible, but currently you're really limited if you want a pulse rifle of this archetype, and this one, in my opinion, does kind of outperform the Lincoln Green, or is kind of more interesting, has more options than Lincoln Green in a number of ways. Again, having Zen Moment as you go into engagements is going to be pretty beneficial, especially if you're hit by other weapons that are kind of causing flinch. It's going to make this weapon slightly more stable, which will certainly help with your accuracy. I do recommend running Tactical Mag on this weapon personally. It bumps up stability as well as reload and the magazine size. You'll burn through the ammo in the mag fairly quickly on this thing. Accurized rounds will increase your range, which slightly helps performance, although I feel like the range drop-off is kind of too severe to begin with for it to really make a huge difference, although you will find at, you know, kind of longer medium ranges, this thing is still competitive, especially if you're team shooting, but like I said, that medium range is where you'll find that this thing does really well. So essentially, if you're a fan of the higher rate of fire pulse rifles, or if you enjoy pulse rifles in general in Destiny, this is absolutely one that you should go after. And versus the other primary weapons, the auto, the scout, and the hand cannon, I do think that this is the most exciting and probably the better performing weapon so far. The auto rifle is okay simply because auto rifles are pretty good right now, but something like Scathelock frankly is better than the assault rifle in my experience so far, and that's why time-worn Spire is the more interesting weapon for me. Like a lot of you guys, I do wish that these weren't kind of reskinned weapon models from other weapons in the game. I mean, for the pulse rifle in particular, you have Nightshade that essentially has the same model. I'm not sure if there are any others that are kind of identical. I guess we've gone from kind of having, you know, completely unique weapons in Rise of Iron's Iron Banner to these being kind of more reskinned, which is what we saw in all of the previous Iron Banners before that. So I definitely think it's a bit disappointing, and I can understand other people's frustration with this. Hopefully it's something that Bungie can improve on later down the road. But there you go guys, those are my thoughts on the time-worn Spire. If you have enjoyed this video, a like is appreciated below. Let me know your thoughts on this weapon. If you're new to the channel though, be sure to hit subscribe to see a lot more Destiny 2 content. But for now, you guys have an awesome day.